What happened?
I don't know what happened. I just woke up out of bed.
Cop just got shot. What's your reaction?
That's really unfortunate. I just moved to this neighborhood, and that's not cool. This is a pretty cool neighborhood, so that's really unfortunate. I feel very sorry for his family.
How often do you see shootings here?
You know, I've heard a couple shots go off like every once in a while, but not that often. But yeah, this is pretty surprising for this neighborhood. It's pretty nice.
You want to give your name or anything?
I'm Nick Charnas, NICKCHARNAS. This is pretty unfortunate.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
623 to receive Uncle Farm 30, 78th Street in New Utrecht. See 3 minutes in the past. Someone was robbed and assaulted, 2 male Hispanics. And nothing further. Uncle Farm 30, 623.
How was frequency?
454.
Bronco from 1030, clock. Checking advice. I'm going to land my Wuto. Give me 1 moment. Can't find the location, Kay. We're getting southbound Cross Bronx Expressway, 100 man.
Visual, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. That was on.
I mean,
You think a lot of yourself.
You've seen me in action like de-escalate a rough situation.
Yeah, you know what? I heard something real.
Bucket loader said cable right, put the bucket right down on the cable, cut it.
Sir, you mentioned that you were here when it happened. Tell me about the scene. What was the first thing you heard or saw?
I was standing, I work in the store over there. I was at the store. This guy was standing on the corner over here. The car pulled up, waiting for the light to change. He just walked over there and started shooting.
You started shooting
Into the car.
into the car.
Yeah, and then the car pulled off. The guy that shot him went that way. And this guy, the guys in the car, they crashed into that van right there, and they hit that pole. When they hit that van, one of the guys jumped out. Right? One of the guys jumped out the car before it hit that pole. Then when it hit the pole, the driver got out the car and he hopped on one leg and he fell. I went over there and told him, yo, get back in the car. Then another man walked up and opened the back door and he said that the guy in the back was done.
Wow. What went through your head when you saw all this happening?
I just feel like it was a race, race, man. And it made me feel like, this dude was waiting for them. He was standing on that corner for quite a while.
Have you seen anything like this before around here?
Seen all types of shootouts.
Yeah. How do you feel about it?
It's scary, man. They killed my brother on August 31st, right in the church over there. Marcus Garvey Hall.
Sorry to hear that, sir.
He never bothered anybody. For 20 years, he lived in that church.
Sorry to hear that.
So, I've lived in this neighborhood a long time, over 60 years. I've seen a lot of things. But
You said you saw somebody get shot in that car? You saw somebody get shot in that car right there?
Yeah.
Tell me about that again.
He shot him. He walked over to the car while he was waiting for the light to change. He just opened fire into the car. Shot like 7 times.
What, that van over there, what did the van have to do with
The
it?
van is parked there. When the guys got shot, they tried to drive away and they crashed into the van and then hit that pole. When they crashed into the van, one of the guys that was in the car jumped out, rolled on the ground, and ran down this way.
Okay.
Did you see any police officers injured during this?
The police came like 5-10 minutes after the incident, almost 5 minutes.
So down in New York City, what up, son? Brooklyn. Oh shit.
Sir, what's your name, sir?
Oh wait, oh.
My name's James.
I got a back.
James?
James, want to tell us your last name, James?
That's my last name.
Can you just spell your name, sir?
Huh?
Can you spell James?
James.
What's your first name?
Chico.
I'm sorry?
Chico.
Chico? What part of Brooklyn are you from?
No. This part right here, Bedstuy.
Bedstuy.
Thank you so much, James.
There's a fresh wood chip on the ground.
Good morning, everyone. Again, we find ourselves in the hospital in the middle of the night with another example of our brave officers out there fighting crime, keeping New Yorkers safe. And it's by the grace of God that we are not about to start planning for a second funeral in 1 month. The following information is extremely preliminary, as this incident is about 3 hours old. What we have tonight is 2 police officers and a sergeant assigned to the 81st Precinct on patrol in an unmarked car, together in uniform. At approximately 11:11 p.m., near the corner of Madison and Broadway in the 83rd Precinct, which is approximately 4 to 5 blocks away, there is a report of shots fired. A review of video at that incident scene shows a white SUV occupied by 3 males. You have a male run up to that white SUV and begin to fire shots into it. We have recovered 5 shell casings at that scene. The white SUV crashes a short time later, and the result of that initial shooting is one of the occupants is deceased, one of the occupants is suffering from a non-fatal gunshot injury, and one of the occupants is uninjured. It's interesting to note that all 3 are known to the police in that car. All 3 have an extensive arrest history, are gang members with open gun cases. Approximately 4 minutes later, and 5 blocks away, our unmarked auto with the sergeant and 2 police officers encounters a male walking briskly on the side of Saratoga Park, blading his body. The officers stop their unmarked auto, get out to investigate, and immediately the male pulls a firearm, turns on the officers, and begins to shoot. The sergeant in the auto does not fire his weapon. And again, this is all preliminary. One of the officers fires 12 rounds. One of the officers fires 9 rounds. The officer that fires 9 rounds, and we are not identifying him at this time as we complete notifications, is struck, we believe, 3 times. Once in the vest, which thank God stops the round. Chief Harrison will show you where it's struck. A second round struck the officer in his right leg. A third round struck the officer in the buttocks. The officer, thank God, is here. He is well, and he is expected to make a full recovery. The perpetrator in this case was struck 1 time, also in the leg. He was apprehended at the scene. He is a 26-year-old male. He is a known gang member to the NYPD, and at the scene was recovered a firearm. Chief Essick will show you the picture of the firearm that he held. Again, it's extremely preliminary at this point in time. Due to the proximity of these 2 scenes and the short distance away, it is an extremely active investigation with multiple assets on the scene to narrow down and draw conclusions where we can if these 2 incidents are related. I'm going to now turn it to the mayor.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. First of all, to say thank God our officer will make a full recovery, and I want to thank everyone at Kings County Hospital who has been taking care of him in a very, very devoted way. Look, this is an example of extraordinary bravery. Here are officers in a situation where they see someone acting suspiciously, and they go and do what we depend on them to do every single day and protect their fellow New Yorkers, and they do it with courage and bravery. And they put themselves in harm's way. But they did exactly the right thing because, in fact, this individual had done, from everything we are seeing at this moment, had done harm and would have done more harm, and then turned on our officers. This is the kind of thing that we see that gives us a clear example of how much bravery, how much courage, how much devotion it takes to be out there in the middle of the night on the street protecting everybody else. I want to honor these officers for the way that they did their work tonight. It's also important to note that the strategies of the NYPD had these officers in a location because of previous activity in that area. And in fact, that was exactly where the officers needed to be to stop further violence. But it's quite clear that people who have this level of devotion to their fellow New Yorker are very special people, and thank God they will all be okay. And thank God the individual who turned on our officers is clearly going to be brought to justice. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You know, we're at Kings County Hospital once again today, but because of the actions of these police officers, what it does is it proves that nonsense narrative that the police are the problem. It puts that to bed. We are the solution. What would have happened? Would there be another crime scene if these police officers didn't come upon and put themselves at risk and get shot? It's not a coincidence that shootings are up in the numbers and the percentages that they are directly after they changed the rules and laws that allow us to do the job. It has to stop now. We've said it before. I've said it before. Now's the time. We have to stop coming to this hospital and thanking God that we're alive. Let's do it right. Let's admit that there was a mistake made. Let's change the laws that allow us to do our job. And then we can thank God that we did it right.
We're going to open it up for questions with Chief Harrison here, Chief Essick. I'm sure they can answer any questions. The mayor mentioned the officers being in the right place at the right time. There had been a shooting in that park, and that's what we are referring to. Saratoga Park yesterday. Multiple teams put out by the CO, Deputy Inspector Glenn, clearly putting his men and women in the right place to combat the violence that was in the 81st Precinct. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Commissioner, is it clear if this suspect was responsible for the shooting in the car a few blocks away?
It is certainly something that we are looking very close. As again, this is 3 hours old. There is a multitude of things that we have to take a look at. Evidence recovered, ballistics, lab work to do, but that is certainly a possibility that we're looking at. Rocco?
Commissioner, he's bleeding, but do the police by then also have a description of the suspect, or are they aware of the shots?
That's preliminarily, I don't have that information. It may be that they did not. I do not know. What we do know is it's 4 to 5 blocks away, almost immediately after. We believe that he's heading in that direction, and we're firming that up as we speak. And when you add up all of that, we have 9mm shell casings recovered at the initial shooting with the white truck. We have 9mm shell casings that appear to match at this scene, but a visual match is not a match. We got to put it under a microscope.
Commissioner, you mentioned the 3 who were fired at in the white vehicle.
Yes, sir.
They have open gun cases. What do you know about those gun cases?
I'll turn it to Chief Essick.
You know, these 3 are known to us as gang members from the area. They've been arrested in the recent past. They have future court dates that are open that they have to answer to. Their court dates are in the future after the summer. So we're looking for them to answer these. But this happens all too often. We're seeing gang members involved in shootings who have open gun cases. Since the courts are closed, the courts have to reopen, and we got to get this moving.
Are they possession charges or actually firearms?
Possession of firearms.
Thanks, Chief. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Chief Harrison, could we see the vest again? We weren't able to look.
Chief, is that the front or the back?
Just the back of the vest.
So the bullet that penetrated that vest has been taken out. It will now be compared to conclusively determine that it came from the perpetrator's gun.
Commissioner, any indication that this is part of a larger gang dispute in the area?
Chief Essick.
Yeah, we're investigating in the last few days multiple shootings in the area. When we see this, it's always gang members involved. We know the gangs who are involved. Everything's still preliminary in terms of this, but you constantly see the back and the forth and the back and the forth, and that's why these officers are deployed in that area by the COs to prevent this type of gang violence. But since they're all gang members, we know which gang they are in. We know who they dispute with. So, but these investigations are still preliminary, and they'll be going forward.
Rocco?
Commissioner, what's the distance between the officers and the suspect, and have you seen the body camera footage?
I am going to turn it to Chief Harrison. Yes, we have body camera footage, and Rodney can go into it.
Yeah, Rocco, good evening. So we saw 2 of the body-worn camera footage, one from our officer that was struck, one from his partner. It looks like at this time they were close to 10 to 15 feet away from our police officer and our perpetrator.
Is anything said particularly by the government?
No, we don't have any conversation at the time.
Okay, we got time for 2 more.
Commissioner, the officer that was saved by the vest, can you talk a little bit more about his condition right now? Is he undergoing surgery?
No, he's in surprisingly good spirits. Thankful to be alive. I think when you take a look at that vest and you see quickly what the alternatives could be, which is very, very thankful tonight. But we're expecting a full recovery, and thank you for the question. Last one? Okay, thank you all.
Where's he shot again? He did his 3 shots, right?